This is Progress Culture.
Progress Culture is a weekly happening where master drummer Paul F. Murphy and I share live improvised music and impromptu conversations with people from various fields and expertises about community, value, art, science, freedom, and progress for all. We are excited to share it all with you, so have a listen and see what's going on this week on Progress Culture. Now, let's get into the show. But first, let's hear some music.
everybody. Dominic Fragman and Paul Murphy from Sonic Spirits here, which includes poet Jere Carroll Murphy, personally my favorite poet. And we are, it's a bittersweet excitement, I'd say. It's our last episode here in the TechPort airplane hangar, where we started and have been doing Progress Culture. And we are here today with the fearless leader and director of TechPort, Mr. Tommy Luganbill. Soon to be Dr. Luganbill.
Oh, God. Yes.
And Mr. Brian Jordan, the highest quality human you can find.
Never a doctor.
Never a doctor. But might help you if you asked him. I believe you would help, actually. No, there's no might about that. So I feel like the thing that I was going to ask today, or whatever, is very cliche, but I want to ask it anyway, and I feel like I almost already know the answer, but that's okay. Forgive me if it comes off a bit morbid, but I was just wondering if someone were to let you know that your death was imminent, like, a month from now or whatever, would you do anything? What would you do different?
If you know the answer, why should I answer?
To corroborate.
That is a tough question, though. Would I do anything
It seems like a kind of a lame question, but
no, it's not lame at all. Actually,
all right. Let's go.
What do you think, Tommy?
Would I do anything different?
No. Well, yeah, sure.
What
but
would
what
you
would you if you would? I mean,
I think the first I thought you were going to ask what I want to know, or what I.
Oh, would you want to know if you were going to die?
Yeah.
Well, would you?
Yeah. Now I would. I think if you asked me before I had a daughter, I would say I wouldn't want to know. But now I would, because it would definitely I would probably do everything in my power to, again, cliche, not waste my time on bullshit.
Yeah. Do you feel like you do that a fair amount these days?
Hell yeah. Yes. God, yes.
Yeah?
Yes. You said bittersweet. I started thinking of the Verge song. Isn't that what they were called?
The Verve?
The Verve.
The Bittersweet Symphony?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good tune.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. And yes, is it sad to a certain degree that this is the last show in the hangar? Yeah. But I was sad about it 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And in the last 90 days, I think I've gone from being sad to being very excited.
Yeah.
And actually extremely happy for not only my own sake, but for everyone who's either been on your show or anyone that's in this building's sake. It sounds crazy. But I think that, at least in the nature of what I've done in the last 34 years, everything has to end.
Yeah.
Everything. And then it has to move because then it actually has a chance to grow.
Yeah.
Talking about community, I did a crap load of stuff in the community right up the road. And had I never left the work that I was doing up there, I never would have come here. Mm-hmm. And I never would have done some of the things that we did down here. So I think that I'm relating this to your question about death, right? Like, would I want to know, and would I do anything differently? In this situation, we did know when the death was coming. The death to what we had going was going to come May 31st.
Yep.
And did I act differently once I came to terms with that? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
I edited myself there. And I think that I would treat life.
We don't do that here, so.
I think I would treat life the same way. I think I would say, okay, time to grab my bootstraps and move on, and change my frame of reference and just start making actions and relationships and positioning things around to be ready for that next step of the journey. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I don't I don't call myself any particular religion. I mean, if you had to hold a gun to my head, I'm a Christian. But I'm very much of the belief that this is not the end of what we are as beings. Like life itself. I'll argue with an atheist all day long. I don't care if you think there's a guy sitting on a throne somewhere.
Right.
But this is not the end. And so what I would do if I knew I was going to die, I would 100% change my actions to prepare myself for that. Much the same way that I think that we've been doing that here. Spend more time with family, yes. But also probably a lot of self-reflection to try and get myself clear with whatever the heck's going to happen next. But I think the fear of not knowing what's going to happen next, I think that's what messes with everybody.
I agree. I think that's probably the case.
It's the same thing here. Most people don't.
For sure.
Most people who are small businesses in this facility or part of projects or programs and things like that, they don't really know what the hell is going to happen after everybody leaves here. But I've had many experiences in my life where I did not know what was going to happen. And I used to worry about it. I used to stress myself out about it. And I wouldn't sleep. I'd be kind of irritable, things like that. And I realized every single time that I changed or moved on, it always got better. Always. Sometimes you take a couple steps back, but then in the long run, you go much further. And so for me, the fear, I've been blessed with the fact that through experience, the fear has gone away. And so for death, it's the same thing for me. I'm around a lot of older people because my parents are getting into their late 60s. So grandparents, things like that, are now in their 90s. And I've noticed that there's two ways to age. Some people age gracefully, and they're very comfortable with the fact that they're going to pass away. Other people are still scared. And I've found myself having lots of conversations with those people, which is weird because I'm like 60 years their junior. And I think it always boils down to they have faith or they know that something's going to happen next, but because they can't pinpoint it and they can't grab their hands around it, they're scared.
Right.
And I think as long as we can get past that, and then I'll let Brian talk, as long as we can get past that fear, or at least help people get past that fear, people will live a much more prosperous life here on Earth and beyond.
How can we help people get past that fear?
Well, you really can't make anybody feel a way that they're not willing or capable of feeling on their own. For me, and I've watched a lot of people like you guys, I think there's a difference between evangelizing and kind of living your best life as an example. And so I've talked to you about this. I don't know if I think I've talked about this on the show. So I'm 8 years sober from alcohol. And I just spent all weekend at a bachelor party.
Wow. That's kind of tough.
It's not.
It wasn't tough?
Not anymore. Used to be. But here's the thing. I remember when I was partying and having a good time, and I would meet people, and they were born agains, and they loved AA. And don't get me wrong, AA has a place. It has a place. But you don't need to jam it down everybody's throat, because you can't tell someone something that they don't want to hear.
Right.
And so whether it comes to being sober or showing people how not to live a fear-filled life, you just have to do it by the way that you live and the actions that you take, and choosing not to sell out, and choosing not to take the easy route sometimes, and choosing to play crazy music or not work for an establishment that would make your life much easier to work for and going out on your own.
Absolutely.
And when you show people that people are capable of doing that, like there's probably musicians out there that are like, wait, I'm too scared to just like play my own sound. I have to play the 3 chords, the magic 3, whatever those things are called, or else
3 chords and the truth.
Yeah, or no one's gonna like me. But if you guys go out there and you make 60 shows like this, and you make all these different things, and you're playing in your crazy sound all the time, you're not telling other musicians you should do this. You're just showing them that it's possible. That's the way that you get people to stop being so afraid of things.
Good answer. That's my cue
Now,
the
Brian,
family
Brian,
feud.
how do you feel about?
Well, a couple things on that. I'd like to think now I live a purpose-filled life. Everything I do is for a purpose, because I don't have the luxury. I'm getting older, so I don't have the luxury of putting up with BS, as we talked about. But we all do. As far as wanting to know, I would not want to know. But if I did know that I had, let's say, a month, I don't think I would do anything differently. I think my bucket list, I've done everything I've wanted to do. There's nothing else I want to do. So I think I would make it more purposeful for the people I'm going to leave behind. I want to make sure, my wife, maybe she wants to do something before I go with me. Maybe just kick me in the head or something. I don't know. Want to make sure my kids, are in a good financial position. They have maybe given some more tools for life. I'd like to see grandkids one day. My daughter's married, so but if I don't, that's fine. But how can I fulfill their lives?
I'm told they're great. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Parents seem to love grandkids, so.
Yeah, that's what they say. So you can always send them home, right?
Yeah. But he articulated kind of your direct. He articulated what I was thinking to your actual question, which is, you want to make sure that everyone that you're leaving behind is in a good place. Mm-hmm. But I don't have anything on my freaking bucket list either. Yeah, I've done a lot of shit.
Exactly.
And I'm young, and I'm do I need to go to
do I need to skydive out of an airplane naked or something? Who cares?
I don't need to do that crap.
Right. I've done everything. But jokingly, maybe you could load up on an insurance policy or something. If no one else knows you're going to die, go to the insurance company. I want $1 billion policy. That's going to cost you. Okay, I'll pay it. I don't care. But so that way everyone's taken care of. But other than that, no, there's nothing. I don't want to go fishing in the Bahamas or whatever. And I've done all that, and who cares? Just it's about helping other people. Can I help Dominic? Can I help Gabby? Can I help Alex? Can I help my kids? Can I help my family? What kind of legacy can you leave? And not a physical legacy like a statue or anything like that, but something that you've made someone else's life better. Mm-hmm. That would give me peace of mind to know that I've moved on to the next level. And like Tommy said, I'm confident that there is something on the other side. So I'm not worried about that. I don't have any fear about it. So yeah. That's my 2 cents.
I used to be afraid of dying.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, major. It was they say that mortality hits you in your 20s, which is why they send all the idiots in the army when they're 18. Right. And I don't mean to call them idiots, but
But you did.
that's the grunts. Okay?
Sure.
And you guys call them grunts, okay? and I mean, think about it, because you literally don't think you can die.
No idea. Yeah,
You don't really know what it is. You're like, what? Dying? I don't understand that. That's why the jet fighters are 20. Besides the fact that they have reflexes, you know, they're 22, 23 years old. I mean, why do you think they're
There's
so
a reason
young?
you do reckless things in your 20s, you know, like, you know, doing a wheelie in the Midtown Tunnel at 100 miles an hour, you know.
My brothers did all the reckless things. I hurt myself every time, and I was over it. I was over it by early teens.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't hurt themselves, you know, and they
I
just
hurt myself all the time.
they keep doing it.
Right. You think, man, why did I do that? That's crazy.
But like this is gonna sound weird, but I was like pretty happy that I had like my midlife crisis when I was like 26. Yeah, I mean maybe I have another one coming. I don't really know, but yeah, I see these people and like friends, you know, friends' parents or whatever, people that I know, and they have actual midlife crises, and I'm like, damn, like you got away for 50 years without ever realizing any of this shit. And like I'm like, damn, like, and then they struggle because it's like for 50 years they built this box. But for me, the box only had 25 years to build, so it wasn't too bad when it came crumbling down. It was more liberating than anything.
Yeah. I can imagine. I mean,
it was awesome. I mean, not at the time, but you know, now it is.
I guess it's the time to have a midlife crisis in your 20s when you're able to do that stuff, you know.
Yeah, it was great.
I saw a video of this older gentleman. He just bought a Ferrari, you know. He's like in his 80s. He's like, I'm finally going to buy a Ferrari. He couldn't get out of it. Did you see that? He's trying to open the door. He's trying to get out. He's like laying there. He's like, oh. And he finally rolls out.
But like, the thing is like, people do that. And like, was it as great as you thought it was going to be? Because usually it's not.
No.
Maybe it is sometimes. Maybe it's like, I deserve this. I worked for this. But if you put all your eggs into that basket and you're like, oh, if I can only have a Ferrari, like everything will be great.
No.
You get the Ferrari and you're like, oh, I'm still 85 years old. Like that didn't give me back 60 years of my life.
Well, physical things don't do anything. They're fleeting. You know, it gives you a moment. It's like drugs. I've never been a drug person, but suppose it gives you a high. You know, the physical things you get gives you a momentary high. This is awesome, but then like, okay, you're over it. You know, so that's very only temporary. That's why I never really got excited about cars or big things. You know, I'd rather, you know, Don and I, we always talk about, well, when we're growing up, well, not growing up, but in our marriage, you know, the kids were young. We weren't a big proponent of buying them things. Let's buy them this, buy them that. We're always about, let's take them somewhere. Let's show them something. That's something they'll always remember.
Right.
You know, they'll remember, you know, going to Vegas and taking a picture, you know, in front of that, the dam, Hoover Dam. And, you know, they'll remember that, you know, the time we, you know, I don't know, whatever. You know, whatever.
Did you
they'll
remember?
remember those things.
They'll remember, but you can't not recall.
I don't remember any of it.
It's their job to remember. We did this for you. Well,
That's right.
Well, what about you, Paul? Is this
Well,
you've got a lifetime on?
I definitely believe that there's a next step. I mean, something after death. And the only thing I would really want to do is see my children, you know, before it happened. And be with my wife when it happened.
Right.
And that's really all I can say. I mean, because all I've really done through my life is play music. I've done other jobs to like try to pay some bills, but the bills keep mounting and I just keep playing.
But what a life you've lived, though. That to me, that's why I look up to people like that. You've done what you've wanted. That where most people have been afraid to go out and live their dream. You know, to play music. That's you have other jobs to pay the bills, but to actually do, like I was telling you, I met a young man on the phone. He's going to move here. He was in the Navy, and I asked him, why does he plays drums? I said, why don't you play drums? He's like, oh, that's a hard life, you know. But and I don't want to say it like this, and if he's listening, I'm sorry, but to me, it's almost like a cop out. You know, he copped out on his dream to do something. Like Tommy said, to be some prick in the Navy. Not that he's a prick.
I did not say
But,
in
you
the
know,
Navy.
This is the most uncensored
I was in the
joke
Navy, so I can say that.
we've had so
But,
far.
you know, but my point is, you know, that's a cop out. You know, you went and did something safe because you were afraid to live your dream.
Yeah,
You know?
my friends think I'm freaking crazy. And I probably am. I mean, I know
I know I'm crazy.
No, I know I am to a certain degree, but I'm also not. But they literally, like, because I saw a bunch of them that I hadn't seen in like 7, 8 years, and they're like, what the hell where are you? Like, what? And I'm like, and they're like, well, then what's that thing? And I'm like, that's different. And, but then I look back and I'm like, thank God I didn't just take a 9 to 5.
Oh God, no.
Because that would suck. And I don't want to make anybody feel bad who truly enjoys their 9 to 5.
If you enjoy it, that's different though. If
But
you
a
do
lot of
something
people
you enjoy,
don't. And the people who don't are the ones that again, I go back to this idea of fear. And you can tell someone who hates their 9 to 5, just go for it, go for it, go for it. They'll never listen until they're ready. And that's why, again, I just go back to, well, just do it.
just do it.
And people, your medical devices, and like you're not qualified for that. And I'm like, yeah, you're damn right I'm not. But neither are anyone until they figure out how to do it. No one's qualified for anything until they practice.
Right.
And as long as you're willing to just take the fear away, and if you want to not have a 9 to 5,
right,
you just got to try it.
You just got to go for it. And, I think we were talking to Alex, a couple days ago, and, and I was telling her, live your dream. If you want to write. Don't get a job on bass because everyone says you should get a job on bass. And I'm kind of proud of our son. My son, he's 23. Dude,
I hate when people ask me my daughter's birthday.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
like, it's okay.
Something, but he's 23, and all of his friends now they went to high school with. They've all went to college. They've graduated. Most of them are working on bass. They're making. He's like, yeah, Dad, Tyler's making so much money. This guy's making this much money, but I'm proud of him. He's in Lithuania right now, living his dream, having a great time. He's on Lithuanian TV, doing some stuff. He's working on his masters. You can't buy that.
No.
And he's living his dream. He's not stuck in some 9 to 5. And he's, I guess he took my advice. He said, yeah. I said, dude, you got the rest of your life to work a 9 to 5. You don't have any kids. You're not married.
That's so true.
You got the rest of your life to do that. Right now, do what you want. He's very personable. So he's got that stage presence, and he's funny and he's smart. So he did that. And my daughter's doing the same thing. She's married. To a nice guy, love him to death, great husband, but she's living her dream. She just finished her master's, and now they're out doing their thing, So of course I got one son at Lowe's working there. He's doing good. Then the one in high school, So at least most of them took our advice, and hopefully.
So I got one.
Cutler, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say working at Lowe's.
I got one friend.
We love you.
You're doing great. We love you.
I got one friend that I bust his butt a lot because he lives on a different planet. And he's one of my oldest friends in the world. But I've told him this to his face, and I've said it publicly at his wedding, that out of all the people I know, which is a lot, he's up there with people that I appreciate as far as living their own life.
Yeah.
Because this dude went to a normal school, grew up in a normal neighborhood, and went off to college, got the degree like he was supposed to. And then one day he was just like, I'm going to be a radio DJ. And everyone was like, what? And he's like, I'm moving to Orlando next week. And we were all like, what? And then, dude, he re-enrolls into an undergraduate program. Mind you, he already has a degree.
Yeah.
He's like 24. He's like, I'm going to go back to school. I'm like, this is weird. Then I find out a few months later the reason he did that is because in order to get an internship at a local radio station, he had to be a student. So he signed up for classes just to get the internship, and then he unenrolled himself from the classes. And he did the radio thing for years. And then when he was done with that, he goes, okay, I did it, and just walked away.
That's awesome.
What's he doing?
Great.
He's doing recruiting or something like that.
That's awesome. Do
But
what you want.
like he started and left on his own terms. Like literally one day was just like, I've met Weezer, I've met all these people, all these big bands that he grew up liking. He's really into punk, and he's like, okay, I did it, and he got it out of his system before he was 30, and now he's like, oh, I'll go work a normal job now.
But now he'll be a 90-year-old man one day saying, you know what? I don't have any stones left unturned. I've done everything I wanted to do, as opposed to being, and Dad, I love you. My dad's one of these people, he he and I hate this, he has a life of regrets. I should have did this, I should have did that, I wish I'd have done that. I love you, but I'm just saying, you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that person to have regrets. Do what gets you up in the morning. That's why I told Alex, if writings get you up in the morning, do it and do nothing else.
All right.
Granted, if you want to wait tables or something to make a living or work on bass, whatever you got to do to pay the bills, do that too. But don't be afraid to live your passion, whatever it is.
Let me try to bring it back home here.
Okay. Go, Tommy.
This is the last week in this building.
Yep.
And this building was, we're going on for a while.
No.
Okay, I came in late.
There's no time.
I came in late to the game, right? There was someone here before me, and this individual, some people loved him, some people didn't. But unfortunately for him, he was confined to the old school 9-to-5 mentality. He had a set of rules that he had to follow, do it like this, do it like that. It didn't work. And for me, I walked in and I was just given a gift, which was, sorry to say this, but COVID. Okay, I'm sad that people passed away. I don't want anyone to get sick.
Right.
It's an opportunity.
Right.
But there were no rules. And people in the last month or so have asked me to analyze what went right and what went wrong and what would you do differently, and I'm like, nothing. And they're like, yeah, Tommy, but you had a sour relationship with this person, and I'm like, yep, because that person was an asshole. You right?
You didn't censor yourself.
Exactly. And I'm not censoring myself.
We don't
right now.
edit this show. There have been some pretty. There have been some comments made that I think I'm gonna. If we ever gain some popularity, we might have to readdress at some point.
We'll hide that episode. We'll hide that one.
But my point, other than just calling people jerk offs on live TV or whatever, recorded TV, is this. I have the reason I'm not sad. Like my wife's, oh, aren't you sad?
Yeah, why are you sad?
I am not sad because I literally did it exactly how I wanted to do it.
You did what you're supposed to do.
Frank Sinatra in it over here?
No. Because that guy was.
But you're right. He's 100% right. He did what we were supposed to do, but the people that don't have the vision didn't see it. I personally, I don't think there's anything he could have done differently with TechPort. I think we all did what we were supposed to do. We got the right people in place. We got Gabby, as a visionary. We got Alex, so the people are here. You guys, I mean, everything went right.
Yeah.
Everything went right.
There's nothing that I look back on and I go, if only we had done this, or only we had done that, or only we didn't say this. None of that.
No.
So to be sad is natural, and I know that
we spent all the money.
We did, yeah. Thank you, U.S. government. But guess what? We used taxpayer dollars properly.
Yes.
Right.
And we created value, which is what the government is supposed to do.
Right.
So for people to say, Tommy, write a report evaluating what you could have done differently. No. Because I didn't do anything wrong. And I'm looking right at the camera while I say that. Now, does that mean I'm infallible? Absolutely not. I make mistakes all the time. All the time. But I've made enough mistakes to know when I'm wrong and when I'm right.
But you know what, though? I've heard some people say a wise person has no regrets because you made the decision at that time with the information you had. And so there are no regrets.
Exactly.
I don't think. Can you do it better? I mean, yeah, you can always look back and say, oh, I could have did this and did that. But
That's Monday morning quarterback.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Hindsight is always 20/20.
Yeah. So I look, knowing when the end is in sight, preparing, things like that. I think to the theme that we're going with here is just live the life you want to live. If you want to work on bass and have weekends and have holidays, good on you.
Do it. Yeah, if you want to make money, yeah.
But don't live a life because someone else wants you to live it.
Don't live a life of fear is a big thing. It's fear. I think most people live in fear. We were taught to go to college, get a good job, because if you don't, you won't make any money. And you're going to be poor. And so that fear of being poor was something that was always jammed down my throat. My wife was, she wanted to major in dance and the arts, but she was told she had to do chemistry because chemists make money and you can do this and do that, so don't live a life of fear.
Yeah.
Or regret.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, I am not sad. I'm actually very, very, very happy with what we did here. I'm more sad about the fact that I don't think we changed the culture as much as we could have.
Right.
But then I start to think about it and I go, wait a second. We literally pushed the envelope as far as we humanly could have. And I'm more sad thinking, do we regress? But I know everyone here that's sitting here and everyone that's in the building right now does not. And they move on and they go to bigger and better things.
Well, I'm looking forward to what progress culture is going to bring, or sonic spirits and progress culture is going to bring in the future, and where we're going to be. So, like you said, I think it's going to be bigger and better in the future. So the next one outside of this hangar,
It's going to be fun.
A lot less curse words.
Right.
Man, I was hoping we were going to have more curse words, actually.
well, we can do
Get
that.
outside of the purview of whoever we're supposed to be polite for.
We can say the 7 dirty words all day.
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's,
Oh, but you guys always say thank you to me. So I want to say thank you to you, Brian, both of you.
Thank you.
Believe it or not, again, this comes down to me telling people that crazy thinkers and musicians are healthy for building communities. I can tell people all day long, but until people are actually doing it and showing that it's possible, my words have no meaning. So
Right.
thank you guys, honestly, for walking the walk.
Well, thank you for having us. I mean,
Thank
it
you.
really wouldn't have happened without you being at the helm, because it wouldn't have worked like we talked about earlier with the previous, establishment here. That never would have worked. So
Yeah.
but it
I
worked
used to
here.
wonder. I used to like when we met after you run Forest Run to TechPort one day, and then I came in here and we sat down and talked for like, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, whatever. I used to wonder why you thought it might be a good idea to deal with somebody like us. And I don't wonder anymore, But I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it just, the whole thing was there. It's like, the pieces just came together. And like you said, without the conditions that were there of a facility that needed some help and an unfortunate pandemic, eyes were averted.
Right.
Nobody was like, they started to ask, but they were too busy trying to figure out the rest of the stuff to say, why do you keep having this music? What are you doing?
Yeah, that was like
They
20
didn't get it.
episodes later.
Yeah, right. Now this is episode 60.
Yeah.
And they're still asking.
Don't ask.
Yeah. Whatever.
Like I said, on a positive note, I think everything's been good. Bittersweet is a good way to describe it. I'm favoring towards the sweet side of it.
Yeah.
And I think everyone will have a lot of bandwidth that gets freed up. There will be a lot less tension in a lot of people's personal lives. Some of our interns won't go home with headaches every day. And the creativity will start to come back. And so I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to see what we're going to do, where we're going to be, and what kind of new things are going to blossom. It's going to really be an ecosystem, a positive ecosystem.
Yeah.
Well, I do believe that, as I said in the beginning, that I knew the answer to the question that
Then why don't we just talk?
No, I think you all corroborated what I was thinking. I didn't think that any of you would say that there was some major thing that you should be doing differently, because you all are people, that, at least in my impression, that you're doing what you believe you should be doing.
That's right.
And what generates the most value. And like you said, having that on display for people, especially in a multitude of people doing it, that's powerful.
Yep.
And I was still interested to know the answer, because I knew there was going to be interesting things said, but I didn't think that anybody was going to say, I should be doing this differently. Oh, all of a sudden I should be doing this differently. Nah, you guys are doing it. So I thank you all for that.
Thank you.
And I think that'll do it for today. And as far as anybody that's been listening, like I said, I know we have regular listeners in Connecticut and Columbia and sometimes in Vienna and different places like that. If anybody, wherever you are, wants to talk to us about anything or share what you are working on, any of that stuff, I constantly am constantly watching videos and trying to find people who are engrossed in positive, powerful, valuable work that is creative and unique. And you could make my life a lot easier if you just directed it to my attention. So if you would, I'd appreciate it. Say hello. And thank you for listening. And we're going to continue to do this. We're not quite sure where yet, but that's pretty cool too. So it's coming. Stay tuned. And progressculture.org, sonic-spirits.com, and we'll let you know when any of that other information changes. So thank you guys. All right. See you next Thank you all so much for being with us. We appreciate you sharing your time and consideration. Please feel free to reach out to Sonic Spirits and Progress Culture at sonic-spirits.com and progressculture.org. We'd love to hear from you if you're working on something awesome, or you have ideas for future shows, or you just like to say hello. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Much love. See you soon.